So this looking into the Impressionists, so sort of moving on a little bit from what we were looking at before. So I thought I'd work on the this Monet, and I picked this one because it's not too overcomplicated drawing wise. So this is one I started the other day in my Tuesday classes, so go for the whole thing, and then this bit I started this morning. So it comes out of the book, and really just looking at that one tree on the right. It's quite nice because it sort of zooms in and just get a bit more detail. I think I started that. Yep. Yeah, the way, sort of reading a little bit in the book, the way it went about it was starting off with a fairly lightish coloured canvas. So that's what I've done here. I had a pale board already. Then just a wash of the sort of pinky colours and the bluey colours. So that was the first layer, and let that dry. So I've done the same here. Well, this was actually a blue board, so I've just used a bit of acrylic this morning, and that's dry for the underpainting. And then just sort of building it up, really. Quite a lot of the way he worked was working on location, and he probably painted a painting over a few different sessions. So he'd keep coming back at the same time of day, and at the same sort of lighting, and gradually sort of build them up. And quite often worked in series, so he'd have a few paintings perhaps of the same subject on the go, and then he'd just swap them over as the light changed at different times of the day. So I've got a couple of Monet books here somewhere as well, so if you want to look at any of those. In terms of the colours, the Impressionists really went for quite bright colours, and at that time new colours came on the market and it was easier to get brighter colours. So they would have probably used white canvases to start with rather than a duller colour, and didn't use the browns and blacks quite so much. They're more into the high chroma colours. And I think the way he's probably worked this, he's probably got some of the sky in the background to start with. So I'll mix something up with a little bit of two blues, a little bit of cerulean and ultramarine. Just thinking here, feel slightly green blue. Just going to use a tiny bit of medium to make that flow. And just a little bit of white. So that's be a stronger kind of colour up here. Actually, when you do paint outside, you can probably notice the skies are a lot bluer higher up, and then as you come down towards the horizon, it will get a lot paler. So that's one of the things that you do notice when you're working outdoors. So I won't paint the whole thing, but it would have worked sort of areas in a little bit like that. Some of the brushwork I think he's blended and perhaps scumbled, a bit like that. And then we'll go for a slightly lighter blue. Blend. So some areas are blended in, whereas other areas are sort of individual brush marks, and you can very much see the brush marks. And this was a time when they stopped worrying too much about blending everything. So the paint looks like the paint, and it also reads as trees. These kind of browny colours, I've mixed some reds and yellows together and oranges to start to get some of these browns. And also go to a slightly smaller brush. So some would be worked in, well, there's a darker area here I've worked in. I can kind of work that in, perhaps work some of these slightly lighter colours. And he's not particularly trying to paint individual leaves, but he's trying to create a sort of texture and a sense of the light reflecting off the trees, or shadows of the trees. So perhaps some lighter areas, some slightly darker marks in there. And sometimes it pays to pre-mix a few colours, and then you can dip from one to another. Like that. And also around this side, he's used quite a lot of blue in the trees as well, so I'll add a little bit of that. So I guess the idea is perhaps a sense of blue reflecting in shadows, perhaps the blue of the sky reflecting in the shadows. Slightly darker still. Don't want to paint too thin. It's quite nice in some ways just to work on a particular detail rather than the whole painting. You get to work on, with the marks will be a similar scale to what they would have been in the painting, because probably the paintings this sort of size, they're not particularly tiny paintings. So something like that, and then maybe some slightly greeny colours in there. A bit of white. And I think it's the start of where the colours almost mix in your eye. So perhaps be putting a blue down, then perhaps a green, similar toned green, and they start to sing. I'll go back to the browns and work some of that over. Get a lighter. And then finally, the other bit that you can see in the illustration is he's probably just used the end of the brush and just kind of scratched into it a little bit, and that again breaks up the texture a little bit. So it's kind of giving the impression of the scene rather than trying to meticulously replicate it. So I thought that was quite a nice fun one to have a look at.
Yeah.
Questions? Yeah, all good? Yeah, okay.